Okay, in the last lesson, we took a look at the thumb's role in both muting out the strings while you're playing single note lines with the right hand and also shadowing the index and middle fingers while you're playing single note lines. Now let's take a look at how the thumb can play a more active role in playing single note lines. I call these thumb drops. And as we mentioned earlier, since the thumb is already placed on the strings, it can also be used to pluck notes, especially if you need to reference the root of a chord if you're playing in a solo context, for example. If you need to, just kind of remind your ears and the listener's ears of what chord you're playing on, you can use the thumb to literally drop in a bass note. That's one example. It could also be used in tandem with the fingers to play a single note line. So let me show you what I'm talking about here. If we're just playing a line mostly using IM, notice that the thumb is still here. It's placed on the strings. So if I needed to play a line that had, for example, a skip in it, it's already there on the low three strings especially, and it can just reference the roots of the chords as I'm playing through chord changes. And this is a very helpful technique to use when you're playing solo guitar, because if you're not careful, the changes might be lost. Ideally you want to outline the changes with your single note lines, but even if you play with a lot of dissonance or start playing some outside ideas, just dropping in the bass note with the thumb is a great way to reference the original change, and it helps you and it helps the audience, the listeners, keep their place in the form as well. So that's a technique that I call thumb drops. You can use it in a lead line as well. Maybe even in tandem with the fingers to drop in a chord. Okay, so our example in the PDF just simply shows a melodic idea with a couple of skips in the line, and that's where the thumb drop comes in. So here we go with the example. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and...